and it looks crazy as fuck. And
Oh yeah.
admittedly, a lot of those tweets look crazy as fuck, but a lot of them were literally just like the most offensive things that we were joking around about at the time, or like the craziest shit possible. Like really, at the time, I probably had like 500 followers. Um, at that time, because Twitter was like brand new then. So anything in any of those tweets, I mean, I'm totally fine with responding to any of them. But I could give you examples off the top of my head. Like Wack said, like Wack texted me. He goes, "Why'd you tweet? Let's fuck the kids." And I sent him a fucking clip from a comedy back then called Eastbound and Down. That I don't know, like probably not a lot of you guys seen it, but it was really huge at the time, and that was just a line from that show, and it's funny at the time. And at the time, I didn't really feel like the whole lot of been canceled, like tweets or even like anybody giving a fuck about anything that you said online was like completely foreign, So like all that shit was really just jokes. I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh, like that shit was so offensive. That should have never been a joke, whatever." But I mean, pretty much all of it's like completely missing context. It's just not. I have apologized for it in the past, but I also really don't feel like I have to apologize since that was shit that was just funny to us at the time. I can understand how it looks crazy out of context now, but really, I mean, that was just us being fucking
Here.
drunk ass white boys laughing at some shit
Well,
on
look,
Twitter
let me
back in
give
the
you an
day.
example. Let me give you an
Let's
example,
go.
bro. You got one that
Do it.
says, "As attracted as I am to Jennifer Aniston and 10-year-old girls." Come on. This was February 26, 2010.
I'm gonna
I
try
don't
to.
see the humor in it.
What was it? 10-year-olds or I've googled this
Here,
before.
I'll read it again. As attracted as I am to Jennifer Aniston and 10-year-old girls. Come on.
Yeah, I feel like there was some story that was in the media at the time, something about Jennifer Aniston and like a 10-year-old girl or something. I can't remember what it was at all, but it was like a reference to something that was in the media at that time. And that's an unfortunate one because I can't even fucking remember what the fuck the joke was about. But yeah, it was all just some joke shit at the time. Obviously, like at that time, I might have only had like 1,000 people following me, but it's like if that actually was as offensive and if it seemed that crazy out of context, then I'm sure it would have been a big thing then too. It was just I don't know. I can't even remember what the joke was, but it was something that was in the news at that time. Honestly,
Okay. I'll read you another one. T Rose, are you there, T Rose?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read another one because you had the actual file. I'm going through my screenshots right now.
All right, give me 1 second. My bad. I gotta pull it back up.
Yeah, because the 10-year-old girl thing, a lot of the jokes was revolved around young little girls. And and the order of it, from the dates, it's strange. It's like there's a period of time where a lot of your jokes was revolving children, and
yeah. I
and
mean,
and,
I
and
feel
that's
like
where
that was
the
probably the period of time where we felt like we could joke about whatever we wanted on Twitter without people getting mad about it. And then over time, it just became more and more of an obvious thing where it's like, oh, this shit actually could be seen out of context and taken a certain way.
yeah.
Okay, Rick,
I mean, like,
I got two of them.
I guess I'll just state the obvious, which is that I've never done anything with someone who was underage. I've never, I have a daughter now. I have a fiance that I've been with for 5 years. I've never had any kind of, issues. Nobody ever accused me of doing nothing like that. So
Well,
yeah,
well, well.
I mean,
I did find something of two women accusing you of something, but I'll get to that
right, but
after. I'll just.
that was grown women saying that. So that's what I'm saying specifically. Like that wasn't. It's not like anyone's ever said that I did something with a 10-year-old girl or something. It's just, that
Oh
shit
yeah,
was jokes
nothing with
that
any
seemed
children.
crazy out of context. Honestly.
Yeah. All right, T Rose, go ahead. Read those two, T
All
Rose.
right, yeah. So these two is the one that kind of got me. This one says, "quote Getting raped is just part of growing up."
Was that in quotes?
That's in quote. I sent all these to Whack, and that's number 17.
Yeah, see, I mean, when I see the quotes around it, that makes me realize that I was quoting somebody else. Even at the time, I wanted to make it very clear that that was something that somebody else said, and not something that I was saying. Now I wish I could remember exactly who said it, and I could explain the whole context of who we were poking fun at or who said that or whatever. But yeah, I mean, if it was in quotes, then that makes it even easier for me to just say, hey, that wasn't something that I was saying or a message that I wanted to put out there into the world. It was probably just us laughing at somebody else who said that.
Okay, and this one right here is just a tweet that you sent out. So you're saying you wouldn't suck 11-year-old's dick?
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, that again, it's like I remember somebody saying that to a girl that we brought home from the bar, and I don't remember why, but I just remember that like it was just some fucking conversation where somebody said that to a girl. They said, "So you're saying you wouldn't suck an 11-year-old's dick?" And it just seemed funny as fuck in the moment. But I mean, it was a joke. It wasn't like the girl actually was saying she sucked an 11-year-old's dick. It was just somebody kind of poking fun at somebody else who, or I don't know, they were giving a girl a hard time or whatever. Like I don't even remember the context of it, honestly.
Well, a lot of these they go back from '09 and 2010, and even not knowing the context of it, here's another one. I would rather bang a 15-year-old in the ass than be president. I would rather bang a 15-year-old in the ass than win the lottery.
Yeah, well, that's
Uh,
in quotes, right?
yeah, it's in quotes.
Right. So it's like somebody else had said that,
You
and we
said
all
it.
were like, we thought it was so crazy that they had said that. Like, obviously, the person who said it wasn't like saying it in a literal manner either. But yeah, that was just like something that somebody said. And at the
But
time, I remember like a
when
That
you
big thing
one,
for,
retweet it,
sorry, it's not
oh,
it's not a retweet, it's a direct tweet.
Hold on,
no,
Phoenix.
but
Hold
it's
on,
it's
Phoenix.
in
Just
quotes. Like there's
let
a
Reek go.
quotation mark before and after the sentence, right?
I
yeah,
don't.
it is quotations.
Right. I mean that was I remember like a big thing for us at that time, and it feels crazy having to explain this all these years later, but a big thing for us was like we all had the notifications on for our phone. So we would all be like at the bar, we would all be hanging out or whatever, and somebody would say something crazy, and then somebody would tweet it immediately because all of our phones would buzz at the same exact time. And I just remember that like that was a big thing for us at the time was just saying the like putting shit in quotes and just saying the most offensive shit, whatever. So
You think that's
yeah, I know it
appropriate?
looks crazy, but it's also like I really hope nobody actually thinks that these are like real things that like
So
I don't know, like I have to imagine that you guys don't even think that that's something that I actually said seriously, right?
Hey, Reek, hold on one
We don't.
second. I don't. Hey, my bad. Hold on one second. Hey, everybody that's on stage, we brought y'all on stage to vibe with us. For now, so right now we just talking to Adam. So if CEO talking or Adam is talking or I'm talking, if y'all could just stay muted for a minute, you know what I'm saying, so we can get through this, then we greatly appreciate it. Hey Rick, I just have one tweet that I just want to say. I just want to ask him. It wasn't during bar hours or nothing like that. Um, it simply just says, "Let's fuck kids," and this was at 3:30 in the afternoon.
That's the
No
one I
quote
already
marks.
explained. If you go to YouTube and you search "Let's fuck the kids," it'll come up right away. It's like there's a line from a comedy that we thought was really funny at the time. So I mean, you could watch like a 2-minute clip and understand the joke, but it's from this famous TV show that nobody really remembers anymore, apparently.
Okay. You have one. No quotations, right? It says, "I would, I would almost rather sexually harass than have sex."
Right. Yeah, that was a joke. I part of that joke I remember was a reference to there's this old song that we used to think was hilarious back in the day, where the name of the song was "I got an office job for the sole purpose of sexually harassing women," which is obviously terrible, and especially in this modern day age, that's like comes off as like the most terrible thing ever. But at the time it was like everything was just fucking offensive ass edgy humor, and like it almost makes me wonder with you guys like what, like I personally think that cancel culture is bad. I personally think that the world would be better if people felt more comfortable making offensive jokes, or if people felt more comfortable joking with their friends and bringing that to the internet without getting torn apart for it or whatever. So I am happy to sit here and explain every last one, but I also just like want to kind of explore what the desire to even like talk about 10-year-old tweets is. Like, obviously, if there was something in my
Because
life that
because we're offended. We got kids. We offended. We support No Jumper. We watch it.
I got kids too, but
This
I
is
still understand
yeah.
like the concept of a joke or the concept of an edgy joke, and
But
I
this is but
understand why
this
you
is
guys want
But let
context
me
of
tell
it,
you
but
why
I also
let me
just
tell you why we're concerned though,
all right.
because even though you say that these are quotes and shit from other people, you put it on your thing. So even though you can put it on everyone's shows, movies, comedy skits, you thought that was great to repost that. So I don't give a fuck if it says, "Oh, killing little babies and doing this, that, and the third is fun." Oh, well, that's a quote from Aleister Crowley. But you're obviously putting that out there, letting it be known that you find either it's humorous or you think it's cool. I would rather
Yeah,
you say, you know
I
what,
thought it was funny at the time. Just explaining, that time, I could find tweets from all of your favorite celebrities that are way more offensive than any of those same people would say on social media these days. I feel like everybody has learned to just not say anything even close to offensive because everybody is so quick to cancel you or whatever. And I'm the same way where I might think that some shit is funny and I just won't tweet it, won't say it on the podcast, etc., because everybody just knows these days that everybody's thirsty as fuck to cancel somebody. So, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, are you accusing me of fucking doing some crazy shit like in those tweets? Or you might not think it's funny. And I agree that in retrospect, of course, it doesn't seem funny, but I'm sure you like understand the concept of me thinking something was funny in a completely different world 12 years ago, right?
well, I've accepted that white people have a different type of sense of humor. I've hung out with white people. I've watched certain movies, and the sense of humor is different. And I even said that when we first discovered it. I said we are, supporters of it.
For sure. And I mean, I that's why I'm here in the first place is because like I told Wack at first, like, nah, I don't want to do an interview about it because that shit first like got exposed online or whatever in like 2018. And I feel like I spoke on it then. And if anybody wanted to see an explanation at the time, they could have gone and seen that. But I don't feel like I have anything to hide. Like the only thing that we're talking about is me thinking some shit was funny what, like 12 years ago. So, I feel you. Like I understand why you would be upset about that because, as a father now, there's shit that I joked around about at that time that I would never ever dream in a million years. Even like, there's been things like jokes people made to me on the podcast about my kid or, sort of just like referencing children in some way that I had to like tell the team like, nah, edit that out because I look at shit way different now. And, all the dark humor shit, I feel like when you're younger, like a lot of people would point out like, oh, you were 27 at the time or whatever. Like that's true. But I also was like hanging out with all these 19, 20, 21-year-old kids because I was running a BMX team, So, I mean, I really like don't like there's a big part of me that is just like whatever, I don't give a fuck if people are offended by some shit I said in 2010. It is what it is. But at the same time, I hear what you're saying and I want to come in here and just make it perfectly explicitly clear what I stand for, especially because I got all these different dudes who probably look at those tweets like T-Rail or AD who look at that and they think it looks crazy and they got kids too, and I'm sure that they know me so well that they don't even give a fuck enough to be like, oh, Adam, explain this. But they all know that I got an offensive ass sense of humor. Anybody who's watched the No Jumper Show knows that I'm always pushing the line, that I'm always trying to, make a joke out of something that nobody else wants to joke about or whatever. That's kind of like my whole personality is just to push the limits of what we were allowed to joke around about or whatever. And back in 2010 on Twitter, there were no fucking limits. There was no rules. You could post anything on that shit and people would just laugh their asses off. And I'm sure if I looked, I could find all kinds of crazy examples. But it's I want to get both points across, which is that well, the main point is just I want to get across like I feel you. I understand why that shit looks crazy and why it's offensive, but again, it was just jokes at the time, and a lot of that stuff I regret, and I apologize to anyone it does offend. But at the same time, I mean that it's not. They were never meant to be taken literally, and it was all stuff that I was probably tweeting at 2 in the morning, drunk as fuck for the most part, just
That's what I
laughing
was
about
about
some
to say,
stupid shit.
bro. That's what I
Huh?
was about to say. I look. I'm a pretty good judgment of character, right? So one thing I do know is like I know you. I know where you at. I know where your heart at. I know how you know how you take care of your family and shit like that. How you are around other people's family members and kids and women and shit. And none of that is you. I'll say this. Once upon a time, I said a bunch of offensive shit too about motherfuckers today that I called my comrades and my brothers because they wore a blue rag. We
Right.
talking 10, 12 years ago. We